The story begins in 1984, during the Cold War. At that time, the United States and the Soviet Union were competing with each other in almost everything. Even though America had already won the space race, the Soviet Union, led by Russia, was still trying to make powerful new discoveries in space. Deep inside a secret laboratory in Moscow, two scientists named Alyosha and Sergei are checking on a top-secret experiment. They have created a strange new life form. It is a terrifying mix of a human and a shark. These creatures are extremely dangerous and have an endless hunger for fresh meat. Everything seems under control until the security system suddenly starts to fail. The electric fence that is keeping the creatures locked up suddenly shuts down. Within seconds, the shark monsters break free from their cages. The scientists quickly sound the emergency alarm, but it is already too late. The monsters rush through the laboratory and attack everyone in sight. They are incredibly strong, and their razor-sharp teeth tear through people with ease. Some victims are cut in half, while others are swallowed in a single bite. Even the security guards cannot stop them. Bullets barely slow the creatures down. Alyosha and Sergei barely manage to escape. They know one terrible truth. If these shark creatures ever reach Earth's oceans, they will become almost impossible to stop. Every person on the planet could be in danger. The two scientists run toward a nearby rocket that is ready for launch. They come up with one desperate plan. Instead of letting the monsters escape onto Earth, they will send them into space. The scientists get inside the rocket, but there is one problem. The launch countdown still has a few minutes left. Outside, the shark creatures slam against the cabin door again and again, trying to break inside and eat them. Alyosha realizes that Sergei will never have enough time unless someone holds the monsters back. Without thinking twice, he makes the hardest choice of his life. Ignoring Sergei's protests, Alyosha opens the cabin door and steps outside. He fires a flare gun directly at the monsters. The bright light confuses them for a few seconds and gives Sergei the time he needs. Sadly, it is not enough to save Alyosha. The creatures recover almost immediately. They jump on him and tear him apart before his friend can do anything. But Alyosha's sacrifice is not wasted. Sergei quickly launches the rocket, carrying the deadly shark monsters. Far away from Earth, the rocket disappears into space and heads toward the dark, hidden side of the moon. Many years later at Cape Canaveral Space Station, another mission to the moon is about to begin. The crew is led by Commander Nicole Tress. Everything is ready for launch. But just before takeoff, one of the engineers suddenly becomes very sick. He is suffering from appendicitis and cannot continue the mission. Nicole wants to delay the launch, but Mission Control refuses because the mission is too important. Instead, they send a replacement engineer named Michael. He is one of the best engineers in the program, but most of the crew does not like working with him. Even so, there is no other choice. So Michael joins the team. Soon, the rocket lifts off and blasts into the sky. After leaving Earth's atmosphere, the crew confirms that the launch was successful. The trip to the moon will take about 68 hours, so everyone finally gets some time to rest. Several hours later, Nicole visits the scientist, Josie. Josie explains that her mission is to search for new energy sources on the moon that could help people back on Earth. While they are talking, the pilot Tom contacts them. He reports that a powerful electromagnetic disturbance has appeared in space. Because of it, they must change their flight path and land in the moon's western crater instead of their planned landing site. Nicole agrees and tells the crew to continue. But as they get closer to the moon, another strange wave of interference suddenly hits the spacecraft. This time, the problem is much worse. The rocket is pushed even farther off course. The crew tries everything they can to regain control. They also try to contact Earth, but the communication system is completely blocked. Then the controls inside the command center suddenly stop working. The spacecraft begins falling toward the moon. Michael and another engineer, Henry, rush to the manual controls. Working together, they finally stabilize the ship. But by then, they are already too close to the moon's surface. They have no choice but to make an emergency landing. Luckily, everyone survives without any injuries. However, the crash destroys their communication satellite. Now, the crew has no way to contact Earth. Nicole asks everyone to check their supplies. The good news is that they still have enough food, water, and oxygen to stay alive for 6 months. Hoping to repair the ship, Nicole sends Michael, Henri, and Liam to search for old astronaut exploration vehicle that may still have useful parts. The team puts on their spacesuits and begins walking across the moon. After a long search, they finally find the abandoned vehicle. They collect every useful part they can find and start heading back to the spacecraft. But suddenly, something strange happens. The ground beneath them begins to shake. A large object bursts out of the moon's surface and races straight toward them. At first, nobody understands what they are seeing. Then the horrifying truth becomes clear. The shark monsters that Sergei sent to the moon decades ago are still alive. And now they are hunting again. One of the monsters reaches Liam first. Before anyone can help him, the giant shark bites into his neck and kills him instantly. Nicole, Michael, and Henry immediately run for their lives. But escaping on the moon is much harder than they expected. Because of the moon's low gravity, every jump sends them floating instead of running fast. The monster keeps getting closer. Just as it is about to grab Michael, boom! The shark steps on an old landmine buried beneath the lunar surface. A massive explosion throws the creature across the ground. For a moment, everyone thinks it is dead. But seconds later, the monster slowly stands back up. It survives the blast and charges at them once again. Just when all hope seems lost, a sharp harpoon flies through the air and slams into the shark. This time, the monster finally dies. The three astronauts stare in shock. Standing nearby are two mysterious people. One is an old man. The other is a beautiful young woman. Even more surprising, neither of them is wearing a spacesuit. Yet they are walking on the moon as if it were completely normal. The old man calmly steps forward. Then he introduces himself. His name is Sergei, the same scientist who sent the deadly shark monsters to the moon many years ago. The young woman beside him is Akula, his adopted daughter. Sergei explains that after launching the rocket, he also became trapped on the moon. He has spent the last 40 years waiting for a rescue mission that never came. Nicole promises that if they can repair her spacecraft, she will take both Sergei and Akula back to Earth. Sergei agrees to help. But first, he asks everyone to come with him to his hidden base. The group climbs into Sergei's old vehicle and starts driving across the moon. But before they can get very far, another shark hybrid suddenly bursts out of the ground. The monster grabs Henry and drags him deep underground before anyone can stop it. Nicole immediately wants to chase after him. However, Sergei stops her. He says rushing in without a plan will only get everyone killed. He suggests returning to his base first and preparing a proper rescue mission. Although Nicole hates leaving one of her teammates behind, she knows Sergei is right. She agrees, and the group heads to his hideout. Meanwhile, Henry is taken to the underground city where the shark hybrids live. He is locked inside a prison cell. Soon he meets Serena, the powerful leader of the shark hybrids. Serena has one goal. She wants to return to Earth, and she believes Henry can help make that happen. Back at Sergei's hideout, the astronauts are shocked by what they see. Sergei has turned his old rocket into Asmol home. Over the years, he built a system that grows algae, giving him food, clean water, and enough oxygen to survive on the moon. It is the only reason he has stayed alive for 4 decades. Sergei also tells them about Akula. Years ago, he found her when she was just a child. Even though she is part human and part shark, he raised her like his own daughter. He taught her kindness, respect, and everything he knew about humans. Sadly, he could not do the same with the other shark hybrids. Those creatures were created during the Cold War as living weapons. After being left alone for years, they built their own underground city. Now they live beneath the moon's surface, following their own rules and growing their population. As Sergei finishes telling his story, Michael brings everyone back to reality. Their biggest problem has not changed. They still have to rescue Henry. Akula says Henry is most likely being held inside Shark City, the hybrid's underground home. Nicole explains that Henry is the only engineer who can fully repair their damaged spacecraft. Without him, nobody is getting back to Earth. Sergei agrees. He and Akula immediately begin gathering weapons and equipment for the rescue mission. While everyone is getting ready, Nicole secretly contacts Ellie, the co-pilot who stayed behind at the crashed ship. Nicole warns her not to answer any radio messages. She explains that the shark hybrids can detect radio signals and use them to find their location. Unfortunately, the signal is full of interference. Ellie cannot clearly hear Nicole's warning, thinking her commander needs help. Ellie answers through the communicator. That turns out to be a huge mistake. A shark hybrid with the head of a hammerhead shark picks up the signal. Within seconds, it discovers the exact location of the crashed spacecraft. Worried that Nicole may be in danger, Ellie decides to leave the ship. She heads out with the team's doctor, Owen, to search for her commander. Meanwhile, inside Shark City, Serena begins questioning Henry. She demands that he reveal where the astronaut's spacecraft is located. Henry refuses to betray his team. Serena then orders one of her guards, Scar, to make him talk. Without hesitation, Scar bites off Henry's leg. Then, to keep him alive, the hybrids burn the wound with a hot iron to stop the bleeding. The pain is almost unbearable. Finally, Henry gives in. He agrees to tell Serena everything, but only if she promises not to hurt the rest of his crew. Serena pretends to accept his deal. She spreads out a map of the moon and orders Henry to point out where the spacecraft is hidden. At the same time, Sergei and Akula finish preparing the rescue gear. They give Michael and Nicole special suits that Sergei designed for moving safely across the moon. They also hand them powerful harpoons made from strong moon rock, perfect for fighting the shark hybrids. The group drives part of the way in an exploration vehicle. Then they leave it behind and continue on foot will not attract attention. After a long journey, they finally reach the edge of the underground Shark City. From a safe distance, Akula points toward the building where Henry is being held. The team carefully studies the area and makes a plan to sneak inside, rescue Henry, and get back to the spacecraft as quickly as possible. But before they can move, one of the shark guards suddenly appears in front of them. The hybrid attacks without warning. Nicole, Michael, Sergei, and Akula immediately surround the creature with their spears. The monster is much stronger than any one of them, but it cannot fight all four at once. As the shark swings its powerful arms, Nicole sees an opening. She thrusts her spear straight into one of its eyes. The creature lets out a painful roar and begins swinging wildly in every direction. At that moment, Akula uses the moon's low gravity to her advantage. She makes a huge leap, lands on the monster's back, and drives her double-bladed spear deep into its body. The shark collapses to the ground. This time, it is dead. With the guard gone, the group quietly slips into Shark City. Meanwhile, back near the crashed spacecraft, Ellie and Owen continue searching for the rest of the crew. During their search, they find one of Liam's body parts. The horrible sight confirms their worst fears. Ellie tries to contact Nicole over the radio again, but the transmission only attracts another nearby shark hybrid. Realizing the danger, Ellie tells Owen they need to run back to the spacecraft immediately. They do not get far. A giant shark suddenly attacks Owen. Before Ellie can help him, the monster tears him apart with its massive teeth. Ellie desperately tries to escape. Then another shark appears right in front of her. She throws a sharp moon rock at its face. The attack barely slows it down. Instead, it only makes the monster even angrier. Ellie turns and runs for her life, but the shark is much faster. Within seconds, it catches her, knocks her to the ground, and brutally devours her. Now only Tom and Josie are left alive on the spacecraft. Inside the ship, Tom studies the moon's orbit and finally discovers a faster route back to Earth. But there is one problem. The launch window will stay open for only 6 hours. If they miss it, they will have to wait another 4 weeks before another safe path becomes available. Tom immediately tries to Nicole. Unfortunately, she never receives the message. At that exact moment, she is deep inside Shark City. Nicole, Michael, Sergei, and Akula continue moving through the underground tunnels. Akula quietly warns everyone not to kill the hybrids unless it is absolutely necessary. She explains that even a small amount of shark blood will attract every nearby monster. Moments later, another guard blocks their path. Akula quickly knocks the creature to the ground without hurting it. But before they can tie it up, the hybrid bites its own tongue. Blood spills onto the ground. Almost immediately, the smell begins drawing more shark hybrids toward them. There is no longer any choice. Akula quickly kills the guard with her spear. The team rushes forward before the others arrive. Finally, they reach Henry's prison cell. The injured mechanic is relieved to see them. He quickly tells them everything. Serena plans to return to Earth with her army and take over the entire planet. Even worse, Henry was forced to reveal the location of their spacecraft. That means the monsters are probably already on their way there. The rescue team realizes they must leave immediately. As they escape through the tunnels, they enter another strange chamber. Inside are dozens of large eggs. Each one contains a baby shark hybrid. Michael immediately says they should destroy every egg before the creatures can hatch. But Akula refuses. She reminds everyone that these babies have done nothing wrong. Just like she once was, they are innocent children who never chose to become monsters. Before anyone can continue the argument, Several more shark hybrids rush into the room. The team has no choice but to run. Back at the spacecraft, Tom and Josie keep trying to contact the others. There is still no answer. Then things become even worse. One of the shark hybrids manages to break inside the ship. Tom and Josie quickly lock themselves inside the laboratory. With nowhere left to hide, they grab every weapon they can find and prepare for a fight they may not survive. At the same time, Nicole, Michael, Sergei, Akula, and Henry finally reach their exploration vehicle. They jump inside and speed away from Shark City, but they are not safe yet. A gigantic shark hybrid bursts out from behind them and begins chasing the vehicle across the moon. Even at full speed, the monster refuses to give up. Trying to slow it down, Akula grabs one of her moon rock spears and throws it with all her strength. The spear does not kill the creature, but it surprises the monster and slows it down. Finally, the giant shark stops chasing them. The team escapes and continues toward their crashed spacecraft. When they arrive, they notice something terrifying. The main entrance door has been ripped off. Everyone fears the worst. They think the sharks have already broken inside and killed the remaining crew. But when they enter the ship, they are relieved to find Tom and Josie alive. The two explain that a shark hybrid managed to get inside, but they fought back and killed it. Now that all the survivors are together again, they begin repairing the spacecraft. If they can fix the damage, they still have a chance to escape the moon. But before they finish, they check the outside cameras. What they see freezes everyone. Dozens of shark hybrids are surrounding the ship. There are simply too many enemies. Fighting them head-on is impossible. Henry realizes that the sharks found the ship because he was forced to reveal its location. Feeling responsible, he makes a painful decision. He tells Nicole that he will leave the spacecraft and distract the monsters while everyone else finishes the repairs. Nicole refuses. She does not want to lose another teammate, but Henry has already made up his mind. He is willing to give his life if it means saving everyone else. With no other choice, Nicole sadly agrees. Henry climbs onto a fire extinguisher and uses it like a small rocket, blasting himself out of the spacecraft. The shark hybrids immediately notice him. They rush toward him and quickly knock him to the ground. As they prepare to tear him apart, Henry smiles one last time. He pulls an explosive from his pocket, then boom, a massive explosion lights up the moon. Henry sacrifices himself and takes one of the shark hybrids down with him. The crew watches in silence, heartbroken. Now they are even more determined to escape, so Henry's sacrifice will not be wasted, but the nightmare is far from over. More shark hybrids arrive. This time, Serena is leading them herself. She is also carrying the hybrid eggs, planning to take them back to Earth. The crew quickly spreads out inside the spacecraft to hide. Josie runs into the laboratory. She quietly hides and hopes the sharks will pass by. But she accidentally knocks a glass off a table. The loud crash gives away her position. A shark hybrid immediately finds her and captures her. Meanwhile, Tom runs into the ship's computer room. He quickly copies the flight plans for returning to Earth onto a USB drive. Just as he finishes, another shark hybrid attacks him. The monster throws Tom to the floor and brutally kills him. Only a few survivors remain. Nicole, Michael, Sergei, and Akula try to escape through another part of the ship. Before they can leave, Serena and several hybrid soldiers block their path. Serena announces that she is finally going to Earth. Then she turns to Akula, offers her a place by her side, saying they are the same kind and should rule together. Akula refuses without hesitation. She says Sergei is her true family. She would rather stay with the father who raised and loved her than join the monsters, who only care about destroying others. Furious, Serena orders her soldiers to capture everyone. She then heads toward the cockpit to launch the spacecraft herself. Nicole, Michael, Sergei, and Akula are locked inside a storage room. They know that if Serena reaches Earth, millions of innocent people will die. Even without weapons, they prepare for one final fight. Then something unexpected happens. A spear suddenly flies through the air and strikes one of the shark hybrids in the back. Everyone turns in shock. Henry is still alive. Somehow he survived the explosion. For a brief moment, it looks like he has made an incredible comeback. But his victory lasted only a few seconds. Another nearby shark hybrid jumps on him and tears him apart. This time, Henry is truly gone. Filled with anger, Nicole grabs the fallen spear. She charges at the monster and drives the weapon deep into its neck. The shark collapses instantly. At last, she has avenged Henry and the rest of her crew. As the dead hybrid falls, Tom's severed hand slips out of its mouth. Still clutched in Tom's hand is the USB drive, containing the flight plans back to Earth. The discovery gives the survivors new hope. Nicole, Michael, Sergei, and Akula rush toward the nearest airlock. They jump out of the spacecraft. Thanks to the moon's low gravity, they land safely on the surface. Akula is the last one left inside. Just before she can jump, Serena suddenly appears. The two shark hybrids face each other in one final duel. Serena is incredibly powerful, but Akula is faster and much more skilled. After a short but intense battle, Akula shoves Serena out of the spacecraft. Believing Serena is finally dead, Akula quickly jumps out and joins the others. The group heads toward Sergei's old rocket, hoping it can save them. But when they arrive, they find themselves surrounded. More and more shark hybrids are closing in from every direction. There is no way to fight all of them. Sergei realizes there is only one way to stop the monsters forever. He decides to fly his old rocket straight into the moon's core. If he succeeds, the impact will release the moon's underground magma and destroy every shark hybrid living there. Akula immediately refuses. She does not want to lose the only father she has ever known. But Sergei gently tells her that this is the only way to save her and to save Earth. Before saying goodbye, he gives Akula a small object that he has protected for many years. He tells her to use it only when she truly needs it. Father and daughter share one final hug. Then Sergei asks Nicole, Michael, and Akula to hold the monsters back while he prepares the rocket. The three warriors grab their moonrock spears and charge toward the advancing shark army. A fierce final battle begins. Suddenly, Serena appears once again. She survived being thrown out of the spacecraft. Now she is angrier than ever. Filled with rage, she attacks the group. One by one, Nicole, Michael, and Akula are knocked aside and thrown toward the mouth of a gigantic shark monster. It looks like all hope is lost. But at that exact moment, Sergei's rocket finally launches. Without any fear, he guides it straight toward the moon's core. A few seconds later, a massive explosion shakes the entire moon. Just as Sergei predicted, the underground magma erupts and spreads across the surface. Rivers of lava flow in every direction. The shark hybrids have nowhere to escape. One after another, they are burned alive by the molten rock. The giant monster that swallowed Nicole, Michael, and Akula is also caught in the explosion. The burning magma quickly hardens around its body, trapping everything inside. Then, another huge blast throws the frozen monster completely off the moon. It flies through space and crashes into the ocean on Earth. The impact tears the monster's body apart. Then, something unbelievable happens. Nicole, Michael, and Akula crawl out from inside the dead creature. Somehow, all three of them survived. Remembering Sergei's final words, Akula takes out the mysterious object he gave her. She activates it. The device unfolds into a small life raft, allowing the three survivors to safely float in the ocean until help arrives. After everything they went through, it finally seems like the nightmare is over, but the movie has one last surprise. Suddenly, Akula starts feeling terrible pain. Nicole thinks she is badly injured. Then she realizes something much stranger is happening. Akula is actually giving birth. Just as Sergei once explained, shark hybrids can reproduce on their own. Moments later, Akula gives birth to a strange baby that is half human and half shark. Nicole and Michael stare in complete shock, but the newborn is already dangerous. Only seconds after being born, it jumps at Michael and tries to bite off his hand. Michael quickly grabs the creature and throws it into the ocean. Seeing her baby in the water, Akula's motherly instincts take over. She immediately dives into the sea to save it. Then the situation becomes even more terrifying. More baby shark hybrids suddenly begin rising out of the ocean around her. Nicole realizes the horrible truth. Everything they fought for, even Sergei's final act, was not enough. The shark hybrids are still alive, and now Earth has become their new home. The end.